Today I'm very pleased to be joined by Professor Cary Cooper. Hi Cary, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's great being here, Ian.
Cary, you're a great friend of the Charter, but for those of you who don't know him, he's also the 50th anniversary Professor of Organisational Psychology and Health at the Alliance Manchester Business School at the University of Manchester. And he's also the President of CIPD. It goes without saying then that he has a wealth of knowledge and experience in workplace dynamics to share. And in my experience, he inspires and informs in equal measure. So Cary, with such a long and distinguished career in this field, I'm curious where it all started for you. And as always, we'd like to start by asking you, what was your first experience of work? What was your first job?
Well, it's very interesting because I come from Los Angeles, was raised in a place called West Hollywood in LA. And
it sounds glamorous.
It sounds very glamorous. My dad was a working class guy. He was a barber, hairdresser. I was the first one to go to university. But because we didn't have much money, I had to work from a fairly early age, which was very typical of Americans anyway. So at the age of 14, 15, when I was in high school, I had multiple jobs. I guess my first job, would you believe, was selling magazine subscriptions door to door. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing I did. But then I sold dishes, I flipped burgers, I served subpoenas for a group of law firms. I did a whole range of things in my life, all the way through high school and in university.
Yeah, so, of course you have to work your way through university in the States, don't you?
Oh yeah, and even if your parents can afford it, most people work to support themselves. There are no fees covered. The only way you can go to university. So my father said to me, who never went to school, let alone university, because he came from Russia and my mother came from Romania. Actually, my father came from the Ukraine, but he called it Russia at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was the first one to go to university. My dad said to me, if you want to go, that's fine, but you're going to have to earn your way through it because I'm not going to do that. I'm not, this is your decision. And rightly so. And I think that helped me because I gained so many experiences of linking with the public and doing a whole range of jobs. Must have been 30 jobs I did, different kinds of jobs all the way up. Yeah. But the thing that I think influenced me the most was when I was doing my MBA, my master's degree at UCLA, I needed a job in the summer. And I went to work for the city of Los Angeles in the department. It was like a social work department.
Uh-huh.
You know what it was called? It was called the Department of Public Assistance, would you believe?
Yeah.
Anyway, and I worked in the black area of LA called Watts, South Central LA. And I worked with the homeless in the city of Los Angeles. And there was a lot of homeless, believe me. And although I had decided in my career that I wanted to be kind of a lawyer, a tax lawyer, something like that. Mm-hmm. When I saw the deprivation I saw, that dramatically affected me. And not only did I work in the summer, but they said, we like you so much. And the office I was in, I was the only white person in that office. All the other social workers were black. And what happened was they said, carry on. You want to do your MBA? Then we'll fit in. You fit in your clients with your courses. And you can work all hours of the day. And I did. And I did that for a year and a half. And it was probably the thing that influenced me the most. I realized I had to do something for other people. And if I didn't, if I become a tax lawyer, I'm doing it for me, not for others. And
that's really interesting, Cary. And those foundational jobs that you did originally, the 30 or so you're working through school and stuff, I guess that gave you loads of interaction with all sorts of different types of people. So your communication skills would have to be honed pretty quickly to get through those jobs.
I think it's communication skills and social skills.
Yeah.
You learn how to get on with people. I had to learn how to get on with clients, and I'm talking the homeless in LA,
sure.
People on drugs and all, really in bad shape. I had to get on when I'm trying to sell magazine subscriptions door to door with people to convince them to take them. you learn all these skills, and that's why I've always felt that a university student should work in the UK. I've always felt that they're missing something by just going from school into university without proper employment. And flipping burgers isn't enough. It's got to be more than that. You really have to have jobs and learn the social skills and the interpersonal skills that will take you forward in life.
Yeah, there used to be a period when in the UK there was lots of sandwich courses. You'll remember them.
Oh, yes, I do.
With 2 years at uni, a year in practice, and then a year back at university. And it was that third year that you learned what you were going to do. In all honesty, that was the piece of practical experience that sorted you out in a way. So from those beginnings, what took you to academia and your passion for organisational psychology and particularly the importance of well-being, Cary?
Okay, well, when I was doing my master's degree, a professor from the University of Leeds came to UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. I met him, and he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I think my professor here thinks I should go on and do a PhD." By the way, I never thought I was going to be an academic at all. I had not that in my mind at all. He said, "Well, why don't you come to England for a year?" Well, my closest friend in LA was English. He moved near me. We became friends all the way through university, and even today, every Sunday, he calls me one Sunday and I call him the following Sunday. We don't go call, we do Google. And we Google each other so we can see each other and talk about all sorts of things. He's my closest friend in life. He's been with me all my life. He with his English accent in LA and me with my American accent in Manchester. So it's a real absolute irony. And so I think what ended up happening is I came over here ostensibly for a year. And then I was at Leeds University just to do a year and then perhaps go back to the States. And he got a grant for me and said, "You're going to do a PhD. You should be an academic." It's all about mentoring. It's all about the right people in your life coming in at the right time who see something in you don't necessarily see. He says, you're a very bright academic type. You should become a lecturer, a researcher. You're good at that sort of thing, and we're going to give you a PhD to stay in Leeds, which I did. But then my supervisor, who saw this in me, Professor Peter Smith, then moved to Sussex University, and I moved with him down south. And again, that it's people who believe in you, who see something in you. And even the guy at UCLA saw something in me I didn't see in me. And he was from Vienna, this professor at UCLA, Fred Masaryk. He wanted me to go to England to get experience. He says, there's no point you going on for a PhD from a master's degree. You need international experience. And therefore, you should go to England. And so mentoring, I think, is really important. But then I think what led me to do the work I do was the fact that those experiences I had when I was working in South Central LA. When I was a social worker, what I saw made me think, and I come from an Eastern European Jewish background.
Sure. And
I saw my family had all sorts of disruptions due to various wars. And I saw something in making a contribution there. And I thought to myself, I've got to do something that makes a difference. I could make money being a lawyer or something like that, but that's not what I want to do. It wouldn't satisfy me as a person. So then I thought I started to gradually move into the workplace and think about, well, people spend more of their waking hours at work than they do at home. And I've seen lots of bad things going on in the workplace. People managed badly, being bullied, a long hours culture, lack of work-life balance in people's lives. Work is dominating and interfering with their relationship with their kids and so on. And I could see that so I started working in that area and thinking to myself, I got to do something about making at least a workplace. I mean, I can't deal with people's private lives, but where they're working, if we can improve that, if we can do something about that, if we can ensure that people go to, get up in the morning and actually want to go to work and want to deliver to the society, but aren't damaged by it. And if you look at the UK now, pre-COVID, the year before, the HSE report, the Health and Safety Executive reported 57% of all long-term sickness absence in the UK economy pre-COVID was due to stress, anxiety, and depression, the leading cause of sickness absence. And so I thought to myself, I've been thinking that all my career, what do I do? What kind of difference can I make to try to help in this area? And that's how it led me. But you can see the roots of it in a way. Had I not been a social worker in LA and seen the deprivation in the Black community that I worked in, and in the middle of the city center of LA with the homeless, I would have been a different person. If I hadn't been exposed to that, I might have gone
those
in
moments,
a totally different route.
Those moments definitely define, don't they? There's no doubt about that. They define your vocation.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
and I think again, and I'd say this to everybody listening, is that if you can help other people, that's what you should do. Helping other people, I think, is really important. Mentoring other people, giving them positive feedback about their behavior, making them feel valued, trusted, that they can do things because quite a lot of people don't have the self-confidence, but when they hear it from somebody else, particularly somebody in authority, you start to say, oh, maybe I'm better than I think I am. Maybe I can do things I never thought I could do.
Cary, you're hitting on something really interesting there in terms of the mentoring side. I'm not sure whether I've been lucky, but I've had some fantastic bosses that have done exactly what you said over the years in terms of empowering and enabling me to get on with things. Have I been lucky, or do you just find these people?
I think they're out there, and thank God we have them, because if we didn't have them, a lot of people's potential would never be actualized. There are people out there who really are good, and I have always felt that I hope most of my PhD students, many of them are now professors themselves, by the way, and in pretty good jobs. I hope that they feel I helped them, because I was helped by so many people along the line when I was at UCLA, and then when I got to Leeds, and then when I came to Manchester, Sir Roland Smith, who was the chairman of Man United, and about 20 other companies, a working class lad from Manchester, was a brilliant guy. He took me under his wing. He saw things in me, again, I didn't see in myself. He helped mentor me. He got me a professorship at the age of 34, which was unheard of in the 1970s. And, all along the line, somebody has helped me and helped give me the self-confidence to develop myself and to do the challenges I probably never would have done without them saying, you can do it. You can do it. Here's an opportunity. Take it. Do it. And so that's important in life. And we all, I think, should have a responsibility to help people along the way, particularly ethnic minorities, particularly women, particularly people who need the kind of development and what, like, for example, people like Marcus Rashford is doing, and people like that are really making a difference, and their celebrity is helping, and their experiences are helping other people. And I think it's all of us up to be kind, to try to help people who just need that help and support.
But I think it's fascinating how when you experience that, you then carry that yourself into your practice and how you manage people and support others.
Well, I hope I have. Only my PhD students and the people close to me will know whether I've done that. I even try to do it with people in industry that I work with. And everybody thinks if you're in a senior role that, you don't have issues and problems. And I've discovered we all have issues and problems in life. If this pandemic hasn't illustrated that, I don't know what has. And even very senior people who feel very isolated and feel they can't talk to people. I've had very good relationships with very senior people who from time to time themselves need support. We all do. Sometime in our life, we all need help and, somebody to listen to us, somebody to support us, arm around the shoulder, pat on the back when we've done something. And I think that's important too, recognition. And when you're working with other people, to recognize the good things they're doing rather than be competitive with them.
Fantastic. Now, in terms of today, in terms of the context in which we're working, Cary, what are the main issues that employers should be thinking about in terms of how they're supporting their employees through this?
Well, I think a lot of people are suffering mental health issues. I'm not saying that they have major clinical depression or anxiety, but there's a lot of anxiety, depression around in maybe a milder form. People are having trouble. And I think employers have a very important duty of care and responsibility to look after their employees in this scenario now more than ever. The big challenge for me, Ian, is this. We have great businesses. By the way, in Manchester, we have wonderful business. And we're basically an SME area where small and medium-sized businesses are thriving. We always have. We're very entrepreneurial in the Northwest. I'm very proud of what we do in the companies we develop. But I think in the future now, with the recession coming, COVID's not over and won't be over for at least 9 months until all the vaccine is rolled out. We have a recession and we have Brexit. And with those kind of the three horsemen of our era, the dark horsemen of our era, we definitely need line managers from shop floor to top floor who have social interpersonal skills. We don't have enough of them. We have very, very good technical people in the UK and in the Northwest, people who are good at marketing, who are good at production and ops management and a whole range of areas who can create businesses. We have entrepreneurs and everything else. What is important now is people are feeling very insecure about their jobs. Therefore, they're working longer and longer hours. They're showing presenteeism. We have a real problem, and we have mental health issues. The ONS survey, which was done in May and June, it was of 250,000 people, found that 63% were suffering from depression and anxiety, felt very anxious, very depressed, and they were worried about the future of their job. This job insecurity driven. They were working long hours, therefore they were damaging their own health. So what we need now is to rebalance who we get in people management jobs. I think what we have is technically very competent people from shop floor to top floor, but they don't have the EQ, the emotional intelligence we need. You get promoted in jobs on the basis of your technical skills. You're a great classroom teacher and you become a head teacher. But being a classroom teacher is different from a managerial role. And what we need is to make sure in the future that when we select people for promotion and when we recruit them for jobs, this is in the Northwest, this is in the country nationally, there's parity between their people skills and their technical skills. We shouldn't promote them based on being a great marketing person when they're then going for a job as a marketing manager. So we need to ensure that we have the right kind of people managers out there, because people are feeling job insecure. There's going to be fewer people. They're going to be feeling more insecure in the scenario we're going into, and they're going to be working longer hours than they shouldn't because they will damage their health. So
yeah, there's a vicious circle happening there, isn't there, if we don't do something about it?
I think we do, and we can do this. We can do the training. We can select people properly. The good news, I think, is HR directors who I work with and chief medical officers understand this. We have a different breed of HR people now. They understand the importance of this. We will make changes. How are we going to manage people who some working in a central office, some working from home? How are we going to manage people who are feeling very job insecure but hiding it and sending emails at 10 o'clock at night just to show their boss they're committed? We just need a different regime, and I think this is the reset button on that. I think we will make changes here, and I hope we do this in Greater Manchester and understand the importance of managing human beings in difficult times.
And how can we build the capacity of managers on their EQ, on their emotional intelligence? Is that something that people simply have, or is it something that people can develop?
It's something people can develop. You know what I would do if it was me? If I was an HR director of a Manchester-based company, I'd work with HR, whoever's doing personnel in your business, and I'd say to them, you know in your business who are poor people managers. They may be technically very good at their job, but they're very poor people management. You know those people who are really naturally good at it, right? So I'd say that probably a quarter of people who are in managerial role from shop floor to top floor in every sector in not only Manchester, but in the UK generally, have good people skills just by natural. Not that they've been trained for it, because business schools don't train them on their social skills, emotional intelligence, unfortunately. And we're trying to change that, by the way, in higher education now in the business schools. So a quarter of them are probably okay. Probably 50, 60% need training, but the training works. You can train people to be more resilient, to develop their EQ, emotional intelligence. That's not complicated. The more difficult group is a group of about 10 or 15% who probably are technically very competent, but will never be, I hate saying it, but are probably untrainable. Keep them in a technical role, but don't put them in a people management role. If we do that, and we look at our cohort of managers from shop floor all the way up the system, and we train people who need it, don't need to train the people who are good at it already, and we have indicators when they are. HR knows who they are. All people in personnel know who the good people managers are and the ones who are not very good or not capable ever of being good. That's still a small group. It's only 10, 12, whatever it is percent. It's not big. And then in the future, recruit people, who have parity between their people and their technical skills. That's our future. Our future will be that. Then our productivity will increase. Remember, Ian, the problem we have is our productivity. We're bottom of the G7 on productivity per capita, and we're 17th in the G20 on productivity per capita. And that's because we just don't have good people managers.
And Cary, you mentioned SMEs. The Manchester economy is built on SMEs, in fact, micro businesses, and it's thousands of them. Now, they don't have the benefits of HR professionals. Other tools, other networks, obviously the Charter will try to support as many of these employers as we can, but are there other resources out there that can help them?
Yeah, I think, SME is really important, particularly for Greater Manchester. We have a lot of great entrepreneurs. I'll tell you the good news in Manchester is SMEs tend to be much better at helping people, developing a well-being culture than the bigger companies and the bigger public sector bodies. You know why? Because everybody counts. So if you're a company of 50 people in Manchester, every one of those 50 is important, particularly now, particularly with Brexit, particularly with the recession, all of that. They tend to allow people to work flexibly if they can. They tend to be good at that. The problem, I think, happens as the organization grows, they don't really, a lot of these entrepreneurs don't have the skills to know, how to manage HR. And they need to get HR. They need to develop and get professionals in who know about how to create the right kind of culture in a growing business. And so I'd say to all the entrepreneurs in Greater Manchester who are they're not natural people managers. You know what they are? They're people who create products and services, work hard, and probably too hard, by the way, and too long. But I would say to them, when your organization grows big, and I was a non-executive director of a small company then grew rapidly big. And they came to me, these entrepreneurs said, we don't know how to grow this. We just need human resource help. What should I do? So they hired me in as a non-exec to actually hire in an HR director, right? Not direct, somebody who could do this professionally for them, because they understood they needed to grow and they needed to look after their people, and they needed a professional in that they couldn't do it themselves. Because what they actually like doing was developing a product or a service and growing the business. That's their beauty. So knowing when you need help and getting a professional human resource manager in is really, really important. That will grow your business.
That's really important for our work in terms of how we develop our advocate network of peer and mentor organisations and individuals, particularly for those smaller growing businesses that hit that critical point. So we look forward to working with employers on that as we move forward. That's really insightful, Cary. Thanks so much, Cary, for your time. Your continued support of the Chartered work is hugely appreciated, and we look forward to working with you again.
And it's very important. This good employment charter is really important for the Northwest economy. Absolutely critical. And I hope everybody supports it. We have a lot of entrepreneurs. We have some great businesses here. I have a great business. I have a University of Manchester spin-off company. I love it. We work in the community, and it's really important that we all get behind this because we're the growth place for the UK economy. Places like Greater Manchester are where it's going to happen.
And we will come through this, and we will continue that growth journey.
We will come through this, and we'll come out. We're entrepreneurial. The Northwest always has been. The first computer in the world, the linear induction train, you name it, television. We are at the beginning of everything. And we will come out of this, and we'll come out strong. And our small businesses, the SMEs, will grow this economy actually more than the big businesses will.
Cary, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.